We start, as you might imagine, with the final game of Wild Card Weekend on Monday night in Glendale, Arizona. The question coming into this game, without a doubt, was how will the Rams show up? How can they focus to show up? Again, we spoke with Matthew Stafford last week. I zoomed with him 30 minutes after a fire broke out in the Woodland Hills area of Los Angeles County, which is home to the Rams practice facility. Many Rams players do live in the hills, right around the Palisades, if not in the Palisades, in Malibu, the Malibu Hills. The number of players and their families, the number of Rams staff members and families affected by the fires, too many to mention, too many to even think of. You're even shaking your head over there, TJ, because that's the way you have to these days. You're just shaking your head about what's going on in our world, in our community right now.
Yeah, you look at the pictures, man, and it's truly unbelievable. And how you get your. It was hard to watch football this weekend, guys. We all talked about that. So having to go out and actually play in these circumstances, I don't know how they're able to.
And kudos to the Arizona Cardinals and the NFL for rolling out the red carpet, bringing family members over. But even all of that, how can you get ready to play a football game? How do you practice in this environment? How do you do your job? Now, we're all thinking of the firefighters who are doing their jobs. Yeah. And I understand that we're talking football here. But under the circumstances of your entire life surrounding this game of football, and this game in particular, your entire season on the line here, and you're flying to Arizona, how would the Rams show up? And they gave you an answer right off the bat. Right from jump, right from kick. Marching down the field and scoring a touchdown on this vaunted Vikings defense. Absolutely coming out with brass knuckles and swinging. And then defensively, backing it up. The only mistake the Rams made in the first quarter was Bo Limmer, their center, coming and late hitting one of the Vikings to blow up their second scoring drive that looked like it was marching right down the field again to go up 14-0. And then defensively, oh my goodness gracious. What they did to Sam Darnold and that offensive line last night was remarkable and put this game to bed. They caused Darnold to see ghosts like his old school days with the Jets. They took care of business significantly on that line last night. The pass rush was dominant. Darnold couldn't set. And when he did set, he held on to it too long because the back end was doing its job. And the Vikings watched their season go right down the tubes. And even Kevin O'Connell, who was pushing buttons all year long, and he could be the coach of the year. He can get that award. And if he gets that award the Thursday before the Super Bowl, it would not be surprising at all. But his decision before halftime to go for it on fourth down, when you get the ball first to start the second half and you go for it and get sacked again and essentially gift the Rams another opportunity at points. It was just a complete out of sorts moment for the road team, which did appear to have more fans of theirs in the stands of the makeshift stadium in Arizona. As Joe Buck mentioned, 51% Vikings, 49% Rams fans. And it was the Vikings who looked out of sorts. It was the Vikings who looked like their game plan wasn't ready for prime time. And it was the Vikings who wound up going home last night as a one-and-done 14-win team. And that Rams pass rush, 9 sacks. And the most impressive thing about that 9 sacks is Aaron Donald was at the game. Aaron Donald was at that game. It's just, this is how he's at the game. In street clothes.
At some point, I was like, wait, are we sure he's not playing? Are we sure that Aaron Donald isn't? Did he, suit up for someone, Chris?
Because that's the whole point, is that with Aaron Donald no longer being on the team, they weren't supposed to do anything this year. They weren't supposed to be able to win more than they lose. They weren't supposed to win a division. They weren't supposed to go to the playoffs. And they certainly weren't supposed to go to the playoffs and win their first game because, in part, they were going to sack the competition 9 times. Unreal what the Rams have done all year, going from 1-4 to the divisional round. With Aaron Donald being out, they draft 2 kids out of Florida State to help fill the void. And those guys, with the rest of the other young Turks they have around, steamroll the trenches and the line of scrimmage. And that's the way the Rams move forward in these playoffs, with a visit to Philadelphia. And when toe meets ball in that game, they will know whether or not the winner goes to Detroit or has a chance to host the NFC Championship game. Because the night before, if Jaden Daniels and the Commanders continue to shock and awe and one and done the Lions, then the winner of Philadelphia and Los Angeles will host the NFC Championship game, which would be truly remarkable if the Rams have to go to Arizona to beat the 14-win Vikings, and their first real home game in SoFi Stadium of the playoffs turns out to be the NFC Championship game, which, as we are sitting here right now, is absolutely possible. And that would be an unbelievable set of circumstances in the foreground of one of the most remarkable set of circumstances in the background. And that being what's happening here in Los Angeles. And I must say this, and I understand Vikings fans are absolutely beside themselves right now, that their season goes down, one and done. Yeah. And they are, in fact, in the position today talking about what to do about Sam Darnold and with Sam Darnold and J.J. McCarthy and what happened and why it happened and how a team that had their quarterback on their shoulders in a victorious locker room after sweeping the Packers goes and loses their next 2 games in such absolute disappointing, getting punked fashion that they're out. And I know this isn't in any way, shape, or form what they want to hear. But just speaking as a, now for 22 years, Los Angelino, living out here, and what I have seen going on out here, and what I am witnessing about what's going on out here, and how Susie and I and the kids have been witnessing what's going on out here, looking over the hill, looking for smoke, looking for embers, one night evacuating. What you're dealing with, Chris, I understand you haven't talked about it here as well, living in your area in the valley. Mm-hmm. Looking at the hills to see if what's coming over the hills is coming your way. Just to set up the stage here. And again, we are the fortunate ones
Yes.
The beyond fortunate ones.
Beyond.
Seeing the letters LAFD on Sean McVay's chest last night and LAFD on the hats and having this team show up like they showed up last night, I'll be honest, it does inspire you to say, if they can do that, then we as a city can do this too. We can get through it. We can focus on tasks at hand. We can focus on jobs and, of course, family, and we can talk about rebuilding. And honestly, I understand it is at the very end just a game, but it's the truth. It's the truth. And the fact that we're talking about it as a Los Angeles football team when 22 years ago NFL Network started is like, what are you going there for? Why is NFL Network starting in Los Angeles? There's nothing there that's NFL. Right. And there will be nothing ever there that's NFL. And 2 Los Angeles teams played this wild card weekend, one that started it and one that ended it, one that did get one and done, but went from 5th overall on the clock to 5th in the seeding in the playoffs. And then this team doing what it did last night. It truly is the type of stuff when you watch sports that you think about
like
as something that's bigger than sports.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I said it yesterday when I asked you guys, your predictions on the game, who's going to win. And my thought was, out of tragedy, many times, something beautiful will, emerge from the ashes. I kind of feel like, I don't know, man, I don't want to equate the two and put this Rams run up against what we were dealing with, but it just seems like this could be something to elevate this city, to have the Rams go on the run and just give this city something to get behind and feel good about, man. Maybe it's the Rams' time, maybe to pick this city up because we need it.
Sean McVay had this to say afterwards.
With everything that's gone on with our community, everything that these guys have gone through, I thought they epitomized and they represented the city the right way. You talk about sports offering a platform for people to come together, offer a little bit of temporary relief, and I thought the way that our team competed tonight was what it looked like, to stay connected, to stay together, just to fight the spirit, the resilience, all the different things that are great traits that this team has really built through the challenges that they've gone through over the course of this season, and I'm really proud of them.
McVay improved to 8-4 as a head coach in the playoffs with that win. Only Don Shula, John Madden, with 10-9, have had more playoff wins as a head coach prior to turning 45 years old in NFL history. Sean McVay turns 45 in January of 2031.
2031.
Wait, what?
And you could make the case last night was his greatest coaching victory. Period. End of story. I know he's won a Super Bowl. I know he's won 7 other playoff games. I know he's won big regular season games. Last night, having the team ready in the manner in which it was and then have them execute the game plan. And, of course, it helps to have somebody like Matthew Stafford at quarterback who last night tied Kurt Warner for the most quarterback playoff wins in the history of the Rams. He's 5-1 in the playoffs since joining Los Angeles. In that span, since 2021, since Matthew Stafford went to L.A. from Detroit, the only person with a better playoff win-loss in that span is Patrick Mahomes at 9-1. Unreal. What a performance all around. Mm-hmm. And I can attest that the firefighting community and the first response community seeing the words letters LAFD on hats and sweatshirts while they performed their tasks in the manner in which they did is inspiring to them. Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.